Ukraine has been systematically targeting Russian oil refineries with long-range drones, causing significant disruptions in fuel supplies and stress in the daily lives of Russians, although these attacks have not yet destabilized the military situation on the front. According to journalists at the New York Times, the drone campaign combines tactical impact with psychological pressure on the Kremlin and serves as a signal to international partners of Kiev's resolve. According to the publication, Ukrainian units have learned to send long-range drones deep into Russian territory, targeting oil refining facilities specifically. The idea is not only to disrupt logistics, but also to exert economic and political pressure on the Moscow government, while ground successes are limited. In fields far from the front, fighters prepare aircraft with a wingspan of up to 7 meters and payloads of up to 50 kilograms. Checks and launches most often occur at night. The unit commander, known by the call sign Casper, says frankly that after a night mission, reports of factory fires appear in the morning. This is precisely the kind of impact the team strives for. Since August, support groups have been deploying long-range drones almost daily to strike critical Russian refining infrastructure. The goal of these operations is to inflict damage that sanctions and other international measures have so far failed to achieve. Shutting down and disabling production lines that directly impact the availability of gasoline and diesel fuel to the population. President Volodymyr Zelenski directly called the oil refinery fires a quick sanction, emphasizing that such strikes have an immediate impact on Russia's domestic fuel market. NYT journalists were granted rare access to one of the long-range drone battalions, but for security reasons, they were not permitted to disclose the exact coordinates, number of drones, or personnel involved. While analysts aren't calling this campaign radical, they point to a significant domestic and economic impact. According to Wood Mackenzie estimates, by recently, Ukraine has disabled or damaged equipment equivalent to nearly 1.5 million barrels of refining capacity per day, approximately 20% of Russia's refining capacity. These damages have already caused gasoline shortages in several regions and artificially accelerated price increases by approximately 40% since the beginning of the year. In response, gas stations are imposing sales limits, and in some areas, gasoline sales have been temporarily suspended. Russian media have reported queues at gas stations and reports of gasoline shortages in Crimea. Russia's strategy of targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure, from power plants to transmission lines, was aimed at putting pressure on civilian life within the country. Ukraine's response, however, is attempting to avoid indiscriminate destruction of civilian infrastructure in Russia and is focusing on facilities directly linked to war financing and domestic services. This selective tactic is also used to maintain moral legitimacy in Western capitals and reduce the risk of escalation. Economist Vladislav Inozemtsev points out the technical vulnerability of oil refineries due to the presence of flammable substances. Even a single successful strike can cause long-lasting fires, and repairing complex technological equipment is complicated by sanctions on the import of spare parts and components from the US and EU. In practice, this means that repairs to oil refineries can take much longer than the restoration of individual military facilities. At the same time, Ukraine's drone program has expanded significantly in recent years, from small strike vehicles on the battlefield to systems capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers deep into enemy territory. The Casper team itself transitioned from using imported models in 2022 to employing its own modifications. The current arsenal includes production models developed in Ukraine after the start of the full-scale invasion. The unit, which initially consisted of about 40 people and 10 vehicles, has now grown into a regiment. The Ukrainian military estimates its potential strength to be within the typical regimental strength. The challenge for scaling up remains not so much production capacity as funding. Factories and workshops can produce more vehicles, but significant investment is needed to accelerate production by hundreds of thousands of units.
Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev warned U.S. President Donald Trump that the supply of Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine could end badly for him. Medvedev, who served as Russia's president from 2008 to 2012, appeared to suggest that Russia might issue a nuclear response if Ukraine receives and fires the long-range rockets at targets inside Russia. The supply of these missiles could end badly for everyone. First and foremost for Trump, Medvedev wrote in a post on Telegram after the American president repeated his own threat of supplying Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine if Russia does not agree to end the war. Medvedev wrote, "One can only hope that this is another empty threat. Like sending nuclear submarines closer to Russia." He was alluding to Trump's statement in August that he had ordered 2 nuclear subs to move closer to Russia in response to what he called highly provocative comments from Medvedev about the risk of war. Putin has said supplying Ukraine with Tomahawks, which have a range of 2,500 kilometers and could therefore strike anywhere within European Russia, including Moscow, would destroy relations between the United States and Russia. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov later endorsed Medvedev's remarks, claiming that supplying the weapons to Ukraine risks further escalation as U.S. specialists would allegedly need to assist Ukraine in firing on targets in Russia. Anyone with even a basic understanding of the issue knows that American experts would be involved in the handling of such missiles, Peskov told reporters. Trump said again on Sunday that he may offer long-range Tomahawk missiles that could be used by Kiev if Putin does not end the war in Ukraine. "Yeah, I might tell Putin if the war is not settled, we may very well do it," Trump said. "We may not, but we may do it. Do they want to have Tomahawks going in their direction? I don't think so."